Hi there, thank you so much for joining me today. This is Julie DiMatteo from thepaperpixie.com, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. And in this video tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make this fold flat, no adhesive box that measures 1.5 inches by 1.5 inches by 1.5 inches. And inside of this box, I currently have 2 tea lights. But you can also fit a Ferrero Rocher or a Lindor truffle, and it's a great size for favors. And I want to show you that this box goes together without any extra adhesive. The only adhesive I've used is for the designer series paper. I'd like to give credit to Sam Donald, also known as Poodles. She did a box very similar to this, but hers measured 2 inches by 2 inches by 2 inches, so I just resized this to fit tea lights or a Ferrero Rocher. So let me show you how easy this is to make. We're going to start with a 6-inch by 7.5-inch piece of petal pink cardstock, and I'm going to score that along the 6-inch side at 3/4, 2 1/4, 3 3/4, and 5 1/4. Then I'm going to rotate it to the 7.5-inch side, and we're going to score this at 1.5, 3, 4.5, and 6. Then I'm going to bring it back to the 6-inch side, and we're going to score at 1.5 inches and 4.5 inches, but only down to the 4th score line. So we're basically not scoring all the way down to this bottom section here. I'll show you a template in just a moment. So 1.5 and 4.5, again, just down to that 4th horizontal score line. We're using these score lines to help us with our cutting. Next, we're going to fold and burnish on all of our score lines, with the exception of the score lines that only went partway down the cardstock. Okay, now here's a template. We're going to cut away all this grayed off area, and then we're going to create these tabs. We're going to notch those in slightly. And then we're going to round some corners and punch out some finger holes. So the easiest way to do that is the section that does not have that 1.5 inch and 4.5 inch score line through the center. That's going to be this longer panel here. That's going to end up being the top and the bottom flaps of the box. So what I'm going to do with my paper snips, I'm first going to cut up this vertical score line, and I'm cutting up to the second horizontal score line, ignoring that 1.5 inch score line that we had made, and I'm cutting just to the right of the score line because we want to make sure that this flap tucks into our box nicely. Now for the rest of these cuts, I'm going to cut up vertically, stopping at this now 1, 2, 3rd score line. I'm just going to cut up each of these, and then it'll make it easier to cut away the rest of the pieces. Okay, now looking at the template, if I turn it this way, we're going to ignore this section, so I'm going to fold that backwards. This section, we're going to cut right on that score line we made that we didn't burnish on. And again, that's just our guide for that tab. Then we can fold this away. We're going to completely cut away this section. Next section is a tab, so we're going to cut on that halfway score line. And then the final section we're going to cut away. So we're going to be left with a piece that looks like this. Now I'm going to go ahead and come in and notch on these tabs. I'm just cutting at a slight angle, kind of mitering those. Okay, so the left side is done. I'm going to repeat the same thing on the right side, but on this time we're going to cut slightly to the left of the score line here. Then we're going to cut up each of these vertical score lines. Okay, so same thing here. Let's look at the template. We're going to ignore this first one. We're going to cut up that halfway score line. Then we're going to completely cut away this section. Again, create another tab at this section, and then completely remove this last section. Okay, then finally we're just going to go ahead and notch in. Okay, now there it is following the template. I'm going to come in and round the corners of these using our detailed trio punch. It's got a great corner rounder. And it just gives you those beautiful rounded edges there. So now our piece looks like our template here. And I'm going to grab 6 pieces that measure 1 3/8 inch by 1 3/8 inch. This comes from the Petal Promenade pack of Designer Series paper. Beautiful colors and images. And we're going to adhere these. I've made a note on the template here, but we're going to skip this far left box, because that's going to be the side that folds into the box to hold it together. We're going to place DSP on the other 6 1.5 inch squares. So again, this measures 1 3/8 by 1 3/8. And I'm just going to use my liquid glue and adhere those panels. Okay, we've got all our Designer Series paper adhered. And the last thing we need to do is we need to add a little finger notch to this section here, the section with Designer Series paper that's between the 2 tabs. And I'm just taking our 1/2 inch circle punch and I'm centering this, going in about 1/3 of the way into the punch. And I'll do that to both the top and the bottom. So here is our fold flat no adhesive box. This is a great way to store it before you add the sentiment. But then we're going to go ahead and put this together. So you just kind of fold this into itself, and then you'll close the top and the bottom. And this box is completely equal, so you can choose whichever side you want to be the top or the bottom. Then we're going to go ahead and make sure we add our treat. I'm going to add a Ferrero Rocher to this one. And then let's do a little bit of stamping. We're going to use the Treat Time stamp set and the sentiment, "Thank you for being so sweet." I'm going to stamp that in Grapefruit Grove on Whisper White. And then we're going to go ahead and punch that out with a 1 1/4 inch circle punch. And then using the new Christmas Traditions punch, which comes from the Christmas Traditions punch box that will be available in the holiday catalog, we're going to punch out a piece from Grapefruit Grove. And then using liquid glue, I'm just going to adhere those 2 together. I love how the 1 1/4 inch circle punch nests perfectly in the Christmas Traditions punch. We'll add a few dimensionals to the back side. We'll add that to the top of our box. And then we'll add a little pearl for a finishing touch. And there you have it, a fold flat, no adhesive box. Measures 1 1/2 inches by 1 1/2 inches by 1 1/2 inches, and this would be a super sweet little box for party favors. So thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss my next video. If you're interested in purchasing any of the Stampin' Up! Products I used today, they'll be linked in the description. And I'll also include a link to my detailed blog post, which will have a picture of my handy template as well as all project measurements and details. I'd love to have you come visit me at thepaperpixie.com, where I post projects every weekday to inspire you. I have options to subscribe to both my daily blog updates as well as my monthly newsletter, and I'd love to welcome you as a new subscriber. You can shop with me anytime at thepaperpixie.com/shop. And if you're interested in earning a discount on your Stampin' Up! Purchases, I'd love to have you join my team of Paper Pixies, and you can purchase the starter kit at thepaperpixie.com/join. Thanks again for watching. Have a wonderful and blessed day. Take care. Bye.